Hello, you guys. Good afternoon. Thank you for being in here with me today, or whenever it is that you will be watching this video. Thank you for letting me in your day, in your attention, in your life. And if this is going through with you, thank you also for letting me in your spiritual growth path, because that's an honor for me. We have been going on. This is the third episode of a series that I have been doing about the 22 major Arcana cards. I apologize if you're hearing special noises today because my neighbors on the background are having quite a time out there, and I hope the noise doesn't get to you, but yes, I hope the noise doesn't get to you. And she's super nice, and it's fine, it's life. So, yeah. And, okay. Um, Yesterday we stopped just a bit because I was reading the end of the document. The chariot. Yes, exactly. Yesterday we finished at the chariot. And today we're gonna start at the strength, one of my favorite cards. The meaning of it, even for women, it's such a pretty meaning. And the symbol represents like everything. And yes, first, my apologies because arrived a little late in here today because I was trying to fix a makeup situation. When you're feeling like your makeup is almost perfect, and then for some reason you forget and you scratch your eyes and you become a panda. You become a panda bear and you have to go through it all over again, at least on one side. And that got me a little late, but that's also life and also happens. Anyway, so we're gonna go back to the cards. As I warned in the first two lives about the subject, I will be reading the technical content because I don't want to lose any detail. And I mean that because this is like a lot of information. And to help myself keep the tracking of it, I'll be reading it with you guys. I'll be making it available by sharing my screen. And I also made the material available. So if you want to download it, you can become a membership in loveandmoonboutique.com. And in there, you will get the material. It was developed by me, sponsored by loveandmoonboutique.com. Um, Also, after the technical part of the knowledge, we're going to go through the intuitive development of the tarot reading because that part is also super important, has a lot of meaning, and actually, most of the time, has more meaning than the technical part because sometimes they mix with each other, but most of all, the gut, the information from an intuitive gut, will probably be more correct than just the technical information. And that's why I want to work on both levels. And that's also the reason to which I created the material, because the reflection upon a card, it can be so deliberatively creative that we could lose time in each card. Just a bit, please. We could be losing a lot of time in each card if I don't put me through a time limited content, because they are so philosophically meaningful in so many aspects, also psychologically, that I thought it was better to have a material to help me keep the limit of the time of each card. Also, because I arrived a little late, I don't think we're gonna get through the whole three cards today. I think we're gonna be able to go through two cards. But if you want to go ahead and see the material advanced for yourself, you can download it as a membership in loveandmoonboutique.com, as I said before. And it's not a bad thing because considering the amount of um, cards that we have, I already knew that we would need to have like 2 sessions of 2 cards only in order to keep the same amount of time for each study, which is my main idea. Um, so, okay. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can learn it at least to read for yourself or to your closest friends. And believe me, if you want to get the hang of it, the more you read, even for you or for other people, the more you will get better and familiarized with the kind of life in your cards, because you can do the waking up ritual cards for tarot as I have already done in a live here before, if I'm not mistaken, by April or May. Anyway, I'll be sharing with you my screen so you can read the content along with me. I will be here down teeny tiny in the corner of your screen on the bottom. I don't know which side. To me, it appears like this, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get inverted. And let's go through this again, right? Continuing our learning. Let me share with you guys my screen. Oh, I already leave 2 screens prepared. One for Google Translating because sometimes my English get mixed with other languages and I need a help from this friend. Thank you. And the other page is my dearest Chat GPT-4 because sometimes I feel like I need to get complementary knowledge and that's really helpful. Okay, along with these 2 supportive tools, let's start. Oops, nope, too much in the end of it. No, too much in the beginning of it. Where is the strength? Hello, strength. Where are you? There we go. Okay. So many aspects. I love this card. Guys, maybe I'm gonna spend so much more time in here because I totally love this card, okay? Let me tell you why. I'm gonna enhance the card and you will understand it for yourself, I suppose. Let me share this with you. Look at this image. Oh, sorry, the text. Look at this image. Isn't it like amazingly pretty? She's patting a lion, touching close to his mouth, and she's so serene. And the lion seems to be in so much peace. Okay, I know I'm doing the reflection ahead of ahead of what I had in mind because I always like to start with the technical part. But it's true, I love this card, so I do think I'm going to spend more time in here because the reflection upon this card is going to be a little larger than others, I suppose, because it's so pretty. It has so many pretty meanings. Anyway, so about the technical part of it, right? The Strength card depicts a woman gently taming a lion, symbolizing the power of inner strength, compassion, and self control. The infinity symbol above her head signifies the eternal nature of the soul and the infinite potential within. If not only that, she's wearing a white dress until her toes. So she's dressed in innocence and purity of heart. She has eternity, like the infinity symbol above her head in her seventh chakra. So she's like the avatar itself because she's super connected to the spiritual forces that are guiding her. This is almost like the scene of Daniel taming the lions in, I don't remember the name of the king, I'm sorry. Anyway, you can see that there are mountains on the background of the scene and they're a little teeny tiny. Okay, the imagery of this card speaks for itself. It's a bright sunny day, everything is clear, you can see it well a lot. You can see that the movements in her dress, they're seeming a waterfall, very soft. So we're talking about soft emotional moment. The greenery around her, because there's a lot of what seems to be grass and trees and all of that. They are talking about a lot of prosperity. And the background mountains are talking about a very low, difficult level of challenge. Most of all, it means that the challenge has passed, you're now calm, and well, so much more. Okay, we're gonna go through this. Um, and later I will tell why I love it this card. Okay, so let's continue the technical part of it. Let me enhance it a little bit more. Guys, first of all, I've got to apologize, okay? My voice may be different because I had something last week and I seem to not have fully recovered yet. So I'm feeling like coughing, so sometimes I'll be drinking water because of that. And not only that, but some of you can ask me why am I not showing it as in presentation mode, but I have figured out in the worst possible way, believe me, you will see it in the previous live, that when I press this button, the live goes with the screen completely black, and I don't want to run that risk again. And that's why I'm not using presentation mode. I'm just showing the preparation type of document because I don't really want the whole screen to go black. Otherwise, it's not helpful to me, okay? So I apologize for those two situations. They're happening currently. Something related to my weird magnetism to make things weird work out the best way for me, which happens too, right? Anyway, in the upright position, strength represents courage, patience, and the power of inner self. It symbolizes the ability to overcome challenges through love, compassion, and understanding rather than forcing. Philosophically speaking, this card speaks to the power of the gentle approach, the mastery of the self, and the importance of inner strength in achieving true power. Psychologically speaking, strength represents the integration of primal instincts with her higher consciousness, the balance of power and compassion, and the courage to face one's inner demons. Mystically speaking, this card symbolizes the taming of the ego, the control of lower desires, and the alignment with higher self. Oh, may I speak 2 hours only about this card because I love it so much? Okay, but let's go ahead. I know we have a time limit. Anyway, when it's reversed, strength may indicate a lack of confidence, fear, or an inability to overcome challenges. It can suggest a struggle with inner conflicts, a lack of self discipline, and a misuse of power. Psychologically speaking, the reversed strength card reflects feelings of inadequacy, unresolved inner tensions, or difficulties in managing emotions. Mystically speaking, when it's reversed, it warns of the dangers of being overpowered by the ego, leading to a disconnection from the higher self and the loss of true strength. First of all, one of these days, a person asked me, "Oh, but why do sometimes do you stop saying a word?" And I said, "I'm sorry, I have a way too much telepathy, and sometimes I hear messages from places who aren't in here, and because of that, sometimes I stop for about 10 seconds to pay attention on what's going on. And part of it's also been useful, this material to me, because it allows me to not go to that communication environment. Okay, so I wanted to say this because I know that sometimes I seem to stop on a logic, on a train of thought, but it's because I'm getting messages, okay? That happens a lot to me, and I apologize for that. That is probably related to the fact that I have ADHD. I don't remember the letters correctly. Let me see it again. ADHD, exactly. Okay, going back. So now let's do the part that I wanted, okay? Let's reflect upon it. I'm sorry, my mom had sent me a message about picking up my daughter. I couldn't not answer. Anyway, sorry for the brief interruption, just a bit. Let's go back. I'm sorry for the brief interruption. Okay. We can just send it to the front, right? Let's send it to the front. Okay, so much better now. First of all, let's start from the Lionsgate portal. Mystically, hiddenly contained in this card, because besides the fact that there is a line down number 8 on the top of her head representing infinity symbol, the number of this card is also 8. And an 8. 8 makes the Lionsgate portal, which I have to be really thankful for mine. Thank you, Lionsgate portal, because I did a ritual here with you guys live and it worked so well for me, and it has been working super well for me, okay? Anyway, um, so you have two number 8s. So this is talking about truly divine communication. This divine communication in here is represented by so many other symbols, because if you pay attention about it, the woman is complete serene in front of this line. And that serenity is a huge sign of the spirituality. Um, she is also connected through the divine messages because of the naturality in which she is involved. When we're talking about the mountains in the background, the fact that they're showing like very far away and very teeny tiny, it's showing that the challenges don't have strength enough for your power. But that power is about an inner power. And because of that, here we're talking actually about calm sort of power, a sort of power that actually comes from being like super serene, centered, sober, and it's so much. Okay, okay, you guys, it's the green part of it is talking about the abundance, the soft curves on the drawing. You're talking about a moment of softness, of like a soft breeze that comes to refresh our bodies right in that moment in which we were needing. This card is talking about the perfection of what is, even if there are correct, seeming correct or incorrect to you. So this card, oh, first of all, it's a lot of power contained on it. But most of all, it's advising you that in order for you to reach your power, the best way to face this is by being calm, serene, having the bravery of doing the most scary things like patting a lion, and be with your emotions in balance while doing that, not like freaking out because you're facing a new challenge. And this card is already informing that the challenge is not that big for you and you're going to across it really well. Also, um, when we're talking about the lion and the fact that she's holding both of her hands on this king of nature, right? Uh, is almost as if she's gathering also the force from the lion. And when we're talking about it, he's we're talking about being fearful. We're talking about being almost without limits. It's almost as if you couldn't see your limits. You just go and you just keep crossing and overcoming obstacles and curves, and it's talking about a lot of power, but that power is also talking about, because okay, follow me about this. In some cultures, the lion represents your conscience, and the fact that you are patting your lions is about patting your conscience. And at this point, we're talking about you being able to have a control over yourself emotionally and behaviorally, but most of all psychologically speaking, because if you control yourself, but not in a forceful way, but as in, how can I explain it the best way? Let me think. So when you have control over yourself, to not be dominated by fear, to not be dominated by low self-esteem, to not be dominated by other people's opinions and all of that. Okay, so when I'm talking about the power of consciousness being enhanced by the spiritual force of the lion conscious, we're talking here about so much compassion that I'm going to rephrase a sentence that once I heard from God Himself, which was, God is about so much goodness and so much love that even to reprimand the devil, he is not arrogant nor mad or whatever, because God is about so much love and compassion that even to reprimand the devil, he remains being God, and he's going to do it in his God energized way. And when we're talking about this, we're talking about you being gentle even with your dark sides. The necklace that I have paired up with my daughter's necklace. So ADHD, right? So we're talking about you having a control over yourself in a good way. We're talking about you treating your shadows with so much compassion that they will start working to your favor. And when we're talking about the lion in her hands, in the center of her earth grounded chakra energy, because his head is in front of her intimate area, we're also talking about the force of the rooted chakra. So we're talking about a person very well and based on earth, meaning material senses. A person very calm in her heart with her emotions in balance, totally connected to spirituality and using love and compassion to across difficult times. Who wouldn't love this card, right? Who wouldn't love this card? Do you understand me about this? Okay, so I would like to keep talking 2 hours straight ahead of this card, but yes, we have a limited time today, most of all, and now I have to continue. Now, going back to the original position. Oh, where was it again? There we go. Oh my god, may I share this with you guys? For so many years I felt so afraid of this card. Oh my god. Okay, the Hermit. let's go through the technical part first, okay? Because if I don't do this, I can go to totally creative on the intuitive part of this and be without time to go through the technical one. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, the imagery of the hermit stands alone on a mountain, holding a lantern that illuminates his path. The lantern contains a six-pointed star symbolizing wisdom and the inner light that guides the soul. The staff he carries represents authority and spiritual power, and also the background and also his gun. I'm not so sure if I can call it like that, but still, it's all in gray. Good. It's good, and you will understand why I was afraid of that. Continuing on the technical part of the card, on the upright side, the hermit represents introspection, solitude, and search for inner wisdom. He symbolizes the journey inward where the answers to life's questions are found within the self. And here I'm going to add another video to explain my fear of this card, okay? Um he symbolizes the journey inward where the answers to life's questions are found within the self. Psychologically speaking, the hermit teaches the value of solitude, reflection, and the pursuit of spiritual knowledge. Sorry, that was philosophically speaking. Now, psychologically speaking, this card represents the process of individuation, the search for personal truth, that moment in which we're trying to get rid of a childhood's influence against bad and limiting beliefs. It represents the process of individuation, the search for personal truth, and the wisdom gained through self examination. Mystically speaking, the hermit is the guide and the teacher, leading the seeker towards enlightenment and the discovery of his inner light, her inner light. Maybe the upright side have already maybe explained to you why do I fear a little bit about this card, because it's talking about the things that you need to learn alone. And there if there is one process that I love is that I love having a mentor, because a mentor will guide you through the learning process with the methodology and some sort of practicality that will make sure that you walk across all necessary paths. But the hermit type of learning is the type of learning in which someone comes to say to you, hey, I have no time to explain your training for you. Train yourself, just learn and deliver. And I hope you deliver fast. So that kind of explains my fear of it. But later I'm going to add a funny video in here to share my opinion about it. Also, the hermit may indicates when in reverse the position, right? May indicates loneliness, isolation, or refusal to seek inner guidance. It can suggest a fear of facing oneself, an avoidance of introspection, or the inability to connect with one's inner wisdom. I'm sorry, who wouldn't comprehend this, right? Each time that we try to go for this inner guidance, it's like if our ego was dying to reborn into our spirits, which is good, but the process seems like we are abandoning ourselves. And because of that, it's super common that we try to run away from it and this loneliness to study our life's perspective by our own experience. And that is actually good, right? So the meaning of this card is very empowering, and it's talking a moment that you have lessons from life regarding the experiences that you chose. And not only that, doesn't mean you're not going to go out, but it means that you're going to have to learn a lot. You have to go through the process a lot by yourself, which for some people is not that scary. Some people are very used to it, right? Now, in the reversed position, the hermit may indicate loneliness, isolation, or a refusal to seek inner guidance. Oh, I'm sorry, we already spoke about this. Ability to connect. Psychologically speaking, the reversed hermit card reflects the challenges of self discovery, the danger of withdrawal from the world, or the struggle to integrate spiritual insights. I have already gone through the danger of withdrawing from the world. Yeah, that have already happened to me. And I was having a lot of that card at that point in my life. Anyway, mystically speaking, this card, when reversed, warns against the perils of spiritual isolation, urging the seeker to balance introspection with connection to the outer world. I have already lived that as well. Anyway, let me enhance with you guys this thing, okay? Guys, look at this image. Doesn't it seem like somewhat scary to you too? Oh, Danny, but I like gray. Oh, okay, but the meaning of gray, psychologically and mystically speaking, oh my god. Okay, I think that this is big enough to see from the beginning until the end, right? So, okay, first of all, let's realize the man has a really long beard. We're talking in here of a lot of life experience. Um, that person has already reached some sort of wisdom and trust the process of searching inward. The fact that he is on the top of a mountain is expressing that the biggest part of the challenge has already happened because he already um, succeeded in getting to climb up to the top of the mountain. Not only that, he's looking from upstairs to the below situation, meaning that he's using his superconscious to evaluating what's down. And by what's down, I mean what's inside, what is hidden in the dark in our shades. Okay, and talking about shades, the excessive gray in here is talking about a person that is kind of almost going through a burnout, but not necessarily in the psychological way, but in the sense of something has really reached the bottom, and that person is trying to search for very life valuable, meaningful insights because the level of change that this person needs to acquire is huge, and the path is it's usually very long because the transformation undergoing through this card, it's the process of which this card talks about are usually of a huge transformation from a belief system into something completely new. And the fact that he holds, what is the name of this thing? Let me see. My good idea that I prepared my sheet with the translation. Cajado. Let me see. Staff. Yes, staff. Let me go back to the presentation. So the fact that he's holding a staff means that he's already got some guiding skills through spiritual paths. And the fact that he holds a lantern, a lamp, is showing that he's already found some of that wisdom. He's already been able to see part of it, but he's still looking inward. And the fact that he's on the top of the mountain says that the most difficult part has already finished, but the challenge hasn't all finished because once you climb up, you also have to remember to go down very carefully to not fall down, right? So, this card is telling about a process that we need to learn for ourselves, and that in our way of being and in our own natural way of seeking the things that we're looking for, we're going to find an inner wisdom that will guide us to more search, and that search will lead to more search. So, this is a very, very, very deep search, a very deep, long term type of learning and lessons that you will make you understand parts of spiritual and earth truths for yourself instead of just accepting to be influenced by what you were taught when you were a kid or the influence that society brought upon you, okay? Oh my god. And I also, this is always the intuitive part of things is always very important because when I'm talking about gray, the first thing that comes to my mind, and this is the intuitive part of the learning process, because here we're going to process the information from the symbols by our own way of seeing through things. When I see gray, to me it resembles big cities because you know how they call it the gray wall and all that stuff for the big cities with a lot of cement on them, right? So when we're talking about a very, very gray cards, we could be talking about whatever calls more of all your most of all your attention. Okay, but two things come to my mind when I see this much gray. First of all, the stormy clouds because they get gray, and when we're talking about clouds in the tarot, it has the meaning of a moment in which you're not completely understanding things, which is totally related to this card. That's the reason to which why in search. Okay. And the other thing that we could develop here intuitively speaking about the gray is for the fact that grays they resemble the cities, big cities. And to me that represents why this is kind of heavy upon the hermit, because the experience, the hard and cold experience from the big cities made him want to question society's values and behaviors and all of that, and limits and boundaries and all of that. Okay. And culturally speaking, it makes total sense because, for example, just a moment of learning process here with me. Um, in Brazil, this is very common to us that even though we have a scheduled time for everything, if I have a really close friend that wants to pass by my house in a moment of the day that he knows that I'm probably in the house, and if he wants to knock me by surprise, knock down on my door by surprise. For Brazilians, this is normal. If it's a really intimate friend or relative, it's totally well received. But for what I heard in some parts of United States, if in not all of it, that is completely intolerable because you have to respect each one's schedules up to the point that you need to schedule even with families and best friends. That's what I heard. I could be wrong. But if I'm right, this is representing a cultural aspect. And at any given moment of the society, any person living in the country, even being patriotic, doesn't mean that person is not patriotic. Yeah, patriot. Pa- yeah, patriotic. Yeah, right. Even if the person is patriotic, there is a point in which that person can question her society's and community's values because they're not matching with what she believes and what with what she feels to be right for her. And there is so much of that in the world, right? The right for me is not the right for you, which is not right for a lot of people. That's why I value so much my weirdness and my individuality. Okay, now let me check how much we have gone through. And just a bit. Okay, that's kind of what I had in mind. 40 minutes. That's fine anyway, because as I said, we're gonna have to have two presentations of two cards and all of the other ones in three cards straight ahead, because the numbers of card and how I can spread them almost equally between the series, right? And I hope you guys have been enjoying it. You can always help me build up this knowledge by sharing your comments on what you know about it and all of the things that you are interested about in commenting. If you have been enjoying the content, remember to give us your likes and remember to share the content with the people that you know that could enjoy this. And also subscribe to become a follower of the channel, and the notice bell ring, remember to click on it so you can receive the notification for the next lives. For quite some time, I will only be doing this series, if I'm not mistaken, throughout all the month of August. And I hope that by 1 month we get to have the whole thing finished. Thank you so much for being in here with me so far, today, in the past, or in the future. And have a great day. Thank you so much, loveandmoonboutique.com, for this healing space in time in the world. I love this place. And I hope it gets large into the world so we can share this healing knowledge, because esoteric knowledge is healing limiting beliefs, and that we grow so big together. Okay, thank you so much. Kisses in your heart. Bye bye. See you next week.